I mean, how good of a mood can you be in when you're hungover? You know, you don't want to have conversations. People coming and congratulating you and the awes and, oh my gosh, are you excited? No, bitch. No, I'm not excited. I'm excited to not feel this way anymore, but I can't be excited about anything else right now. And, it takes a toll on your, emotional well-being, your mental well-being, those around you. I know my ex, one thing that he struggled with is not being able to make me happy at that moment. Like, I really was just trying to survive, talking to my mom, like hearing that you went through it. I know, but I don't know. I didn't know if I could go through it. I didn't know if I could make it through. Welcome back to Lex Talk. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Alexis, and the purpose of this channel is to have real conversations about life, love, and relationships in a real way. So I wanted to jump in talking about something that happened today. So, I just released my first real episode this week, a couple days ago, and immediately I'm just starting to feel like, girl, what have you done? Are you sure about this? Girl, you done started a whole thing that you got to keep up with. And just all those feelings of, can I really do this? What am I doing? I just jumped off that ledge and having to deal with the reality of it. And so this morning, I be trying to keep up with my little devotionals. So I do try to read the Bible app every day. And I know that's a small thing, but it'd be consistency be hard. But anyways, this morning, the Lord put it on my heart to go ahead and do the things. And the little teaching that was in there really was just spot on. So let me, I did save it so I could read it here. But basically it was talking about the verse of the day was dealing with fellowship. And that's something that I've always championed in my like walk with God, because that was how I came to be a believer, was through fellowshipping with other friends and Christians. So yeah, that's always been big to me. But the teaching went, deeper than that. It was more about the support that we provide each other as, the body of Christ, and just coming alongside each other. And so it says, I'm going to read it because otherwise I'm just going to completely, butcher it. But it says, woven throughout our physical and spiritual DNA is the need for a relationship. It talks about the power that comes from having another person when the storms come and the winds blow. And it says, whether the person is filled with words of wisdom or just sits with you and listens, receiving sympathy can shift your perspective and lighten your burden. A friend can remind you of the truth, encourage you to hold on, and stand with you while you grow stronger. Then it references 2 Corinthians 1:4, and that says, we're encouraged to comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves have received from God. It says there's such an authenticity when someone has walked the same road that you're on and can offer time-tested words of comfort and courage. The details may not be the same, but the strength of presence is priceless. And then it says, how can recognizing that sorrow and pain are a part of everyone's life encourage you to take the risk to be authentic with someone about what you're thinking, experiencing, or facing? And y'all, you see the way my God be working? And that's honestly how my relationship with God is. It is, I don't really get kind of the miraculous occurrences, call it, I don't believe enough or whatever you want to call it, but I know my relationship with God is real, and this is how he works with me in ways that are tangible to me. And that was so timely, because that is literally the heart of this channel, or this podcast, is being authentic in front of people so that no one ever mistakes the things that I have achieved or the place that I am as something that just came naturally, or something that was easy, or something that didn't have bumps. Because I know that in my experience, in different seasons of life that have been tough, the worst feeling is thinking that for some reason I don't know how to do it. I am the one that is just failing, and other people just got they just got the code, like, no, they're just not showing you the process. And again, I don't think that anybody is responsible for showing the behind the scenes of their lives. But I do know how comforting it is when I'm able to be like, it ain't just me. I'm not like just trash. I'm actually just, human and figuring it out like the rest of everyone. So yeah, that was super encouraging to me. And I love the way that God be working, y'all. I love it. I love it. I love it. Anyway, so today's episode, I wanted to talk about, an area that, it's for me, I'm not the first person to go through it, but in my life, in my experience, I didn't know it before I got there, meaning I didn't have someone speak into my life that had gone through these things, at least not to the extent or in the manner that I did. So it's me saying, hey, I see you. You're not crazy. Nothing's wrong with you. It's just life, And so today I wanted to talk about pregnancy and the myths. I won't say all the myths. I really just want to talk about what it's like to not enjoy pregnancy, because we go through life hearing in movies and TV and all this other stuff about the glamorous part of pregnancy. And when I say glamorous, not like, rock star lights and cameras, but like the glow of pregnancy, like the beautiful part of it. And it's just all the nasty stuff is not really like on display, like the damn near incontinence, like not being able to, I don't know, hold in gas or pee, like the amount of piss on you, on your clothes, because you simply can't clench. Like, it's a thing. And there's no reason to feel embarrassed. That is par for the core, And so things like that end up making us feel like embarrassed or ashamed, when really it's not talked about is all, But in particular, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is morning sickness and the lie therein. So during my pregnancy, it was trash. It was trash. It was complete and utter trash. I know that pregnancy is a beautiful thing, but like all of it ain't. All of it ain't. All of it's not beautiful. It's quite nasty. It's quite disgusting. But in particular, it's like the life inside of me was beautiful. My life, beautiful, and that of others. The life is beautiful. The process of pregnancy, honestly, is amazing. It is astonishing, the things that your body does to sustain this new life that's growing inside of you. That part, absolutely, I agree with, is, I don't know that I would say beautiful is a word, but it's like miraculous. It's amazing, all those things. But the lived experience of all the symptoms and the thing, like rarely do we find the period of growth in any shape, way, or form comfortable. It is usually uncomfortable. There is a ripping, there's a tearing, there's a stretching, all that stuff. What it produces after, great. But the process of, rarely do we want to be like, yeah, I want to go through that process of like change. Like that was a good time, So in a similar way, pregnancy, like the result of it is great. The process is, amazing to think of, where you started and how it ends. But quite honestly, the in-between part, that shit was trash for me. Now, I do recognize there are people, and I know some because I was pregnant with a lot of people that have beautiful pregnancies. Like everything about it, the symptoms are enough that, that doesn't mean they didn't have symptoms, but they're able to stay positive through it and just still keep their minds and sights on the life that is created inside of them. That is beautiful. That was not me. And I think TV and movies and everything else, I think people's highlight reels, I think do enough of telling people about the good part of pregnancy, or the good perspective or view or experience of pregnancy. I am here today to speak on behalf of those that don't be feeling like that don't be having that kind of great experience and have a hard time navigating the world feeling that way, because the world would have you think that something is wrong with you because you're not grateful for this amazing opportunity and experience. Shut up. Shut the fuck up forever is what I have to say. No, but with all due respect, shut up for real. Sorry for the background noise. But no, it's not that. I'm going to speak, recognize that I'm speaking based on my experience. I might be speaking in general terms, but I recognize that not everybody feels the way I do. So yes, pregnancy was an absolutely beautiful process. But for me, I experienced quote unquote morning sickness for 7 months straight. 7 months. 7 months. 7 meses. 7 months straight. What I can try to do is relay that experience, but it's nothing like living it. And so it is the feeling of, you have had too much to drink, and at this point that there's no going back. You now simply have to wait for it to run its course. That means you're going to have to sleep this off, But that when you wake up in the morning, everything will be okay. It just takes a little time. Now, if you are over the age of 30, it might take, a full, business day, but that it is going to come to an end. Imagine going to sleep and waking up and going back to sleep and waking up and going back to sleep and waking up and still being hungover. That was my pregnancy. So it was about, I want to say it was like the 4-week mark or something like that. I could be wrong. I'd be lying, but I'm not trying to. But in my mind, that's where it was. Somewhere around then. It was on my birthday, my 30th birthday. I think it was my 30th birthday, y'all. Was it? No, it wasn't my 30th birthday. It was my 31st birthday. My ex had made me a birthday breakfast, like pancakes and, fruit stuff and stuff like that. Y'all, I wonder how that breakfast tasted, because I never got to eat it because sorry about this. I was nauseous, and little did I know that I was going to be nauseous for the next 7 months or 6, whatever. I don't do math that well. Anyways, I was nauseous every single day for until the 7th month of my pregnancy, or at least up to through the 7th month, something like that. That was debilitating. It was debilitating. The thoughts that cross your mind, like I read a stat about it, and many women that experience, aggravated levels of nausea, morning sickness, whatever, throughout their pregnancy, over 50% of them at least have the thought of terminating their pregnancy. A smaller percentage of them actually do, but the thought be crossing our minds. That is a tough thing to admit to the world when you're going through it, because you feel selfish, you feel weak, you feel disgusting for saying about this beautiful life that's inside of you that you were so happy to find out about and have been anticipating, meeting and all the other stuff. But it is a tough thing to deal with. I now have so much more compassion, and it's sad to say, but we don't be really caring about things that don't hit home. We think about them from a distance, and it's a self-protection kind of thing because we can't fix everyone's problems in the world. And to empathize with them all would be a tragic experience. It'd be really tough to deal with all the tragedy that actually happens in the world and not be able to kind of put some of it on the back burner, But anyways, having gone through this has given me such given me much more compassion for those that deal with chronic illnesses, and not to, shed light on it in that way, but it's because it's not like a thing to be congratulated for. But I see you. I understand if that is something that you deal with. Although I'm still fortunate, so I don't put myself in that boat because my illness ended. Once my pregnancy was over, I felt better. Even before then, once I got to month 8, I felt better. But there are some people that are dealing with something and don't know if it's ever going to end, or know for a fact that it will never end. And the feeling of being sick, not feeling well, not being able to enjoy life's experiences because you're not feeling good, and not knowing when it will end is the worst. There's this thing that happens mentally. First of all, so I've had COVID. I've had it twice, actually. And for many people that experience COVID, myself included, at the end, there's this lingering cough, not like a hacking up cough, but this like choking cough, like, something got caught in your throat, like you swallowed a bug or something. It just kind of catches you. And that's after you've already tested negative for it, and you're in the clear. And I know for me, at least, there was this thought like, oh shit, is this one of those lingering symptoms that just isn't going to go away? That's that worry. You already hate that you got COVID. You got the heebie-jeebies, but now you know that you are one of the infected, like a zombie kind of apocalypse kind of thing. Like, I've been bitten, so I will forever be a part of the COVID army. With the nausea, it kind of is that same feeling. It's like, it's one thing if you're sick for a little bit of the day and it goes away, but when it's something that happens over and over and over and there's nothing that you can do to change it, it's like, oh my God, I might be sick forever. And that setting in is like really hard to process and continue to press on through, because how good of a mood can you be in when you're hungover? You don't want to have conversations, people coming and congratulating you and the awes and, oh my gosh, are you excited? No, bitch. No, I'm not excited. I'm excited to not feel this way anymore, but I can't be excited about anything else right now. And, it takes a toll on your, emotional well-being, your mental well-being, those around you. I know my ex, one thing that he struggled with is not being able to make me happy at that moment. Like, I really was just trying to survive, talking to my mom, like hearing that you went through it. I know, but I don't know. I didn't know if I could go through it. I didn't know if I could make it through. And I'm not somebody that struggles with depression. I never have been, not suicidal. But at that moment, I wanted nothing to do with life. I wasn't going to take my life or anything like that. But I know that somebody that is more prone to those feelings might feel that way. And I can understand why. Because I was like, get me out of here. But more like I said earlier, that thought of terminating the pregnancy, I didn't think necessarily that I would do it, but I was very, I wasn't optimistic that I could make it through, that I was going to make it through 9 more months. Because again, starting in the beginning of the pregnancy, to imagine another 9 months of feeling this way. Can you imagine having a hangover for a whole fucking year? Like, bruh. What are we talking about here? So it was very difficult to just wrap your mind around it and then press on, just doing all the things. So So I started to say, there was a friend of mine that recently, in the recent days, past week or so, reached out to me. She found out she was pregnant not too long ago. And what I try to do, because I recognize that not everybody has the same bad experience of pregnancy, or in life in general. I try not to put my negative experiences on someone, especially prematurely. Like, now, if they step into that, it's a different story, but I'm not going to be the one that opens that door if there's no reason to open it. So when I first found out, she and her husband were pregnant, friends with them both, super excited for them. Like, welcome to the club. So excited for y'all to join us. Like, if you have any questions, if you need any help, I know that you got a tribe here, but hey, just consider me part of that tribe. But I also make a point to be like, hey, and I didn't tell this to her. I told this to her husband because I didn't want to, I don't want to put this in her head, but I was like, hey, you know what? Be there for her. It can be very tough. If you have any questions, if she needs somebody to talk to, reach out to me. I just want to make sure that they feel like they can come to somebody. If anybody. I was like, anytime, don't worry. I already got a baby. So, I don't be sleeping no way. So whenever time, just reach out if you need something. And so she recently did reach out to me. And I was like, how's everything? So happy to hear from you. How are you feeling? All that stuff. Yeah. She was like, honestly, girl, it's been rough. And, she told me that she had been dealing with morning sickness. And I said, fam, say no more, because I get it. I hear you. And at that moment, I knew the role that I needed to play in that discussion. And the biggest thing was I could tell, like, that kind of reluctancy to respond. So when I'm over here saying, oh my gosh, how are you feeling, and all that stuff, and I'm, upbeat and all that stuff, that reluctancy to be the Debbie Downer of the situation. And I immediately recognized that feeling, because I often felt like that. And there's no way around it, really. Because people are really just trying to be there for you, be excited. This is a beautiful, happy moment. People are just trying to meet you at that space. They don't know what you're going through necessarily. And you tell them, and they're like still trying to comfort you and, wrap their arms around you and comfort you. But, sometimes there's not much that can be done. It does depend on the person and how they respond to different things. But a lot of times, when you just imagine what you're feeling like when you're hungover, the only thing that will make you feel better is not being hungover. You try to laugh through it. You try to smile. You try to move on. You try to get up, do things, whatever you have to do. But it's immensely difficult, And so I just really want to make sure that anybody that's under the sound of my voice knows, if you are going through this, please do not feel ashamed for how you are feeling, because you are handling a lot, and it is hard. And although some people handle it differently, that doesn't change the fact that you feel what you feel. And so just for those that are around someone that might be going through something similar, resources, connecting them with somebody that, has experience that might help, doing research yourself to understand what they might be going through, so you can kind of be in that, understand their headspace, but support and talking through and help any type of way. Whether it's, for me, food was a hard thing. So it's a hard thing in pregnancy, but especially with morning sickness. Most people have an extreme aversions to, foods and smells and all kinds of things, triggers. I definitely had aversions to food, for sure, but I was fortunate in my, I don't even want to call it morning sickness. I'll just call it nausea. I was able to eat, but kinda, like, I had to honestly overeat to offset the nausea. I also had to take anti-nausea pills. I'm also fortunate that they did something for me, because there's a level of, there's a severe form of nausea, morning sickness in pregnancy called hyperemesis. And that is when your nausea is so severe that you're vomiting so much that you are no longer able to retain the necessary fluids and nutrients to live and to support your baby growing inside of you. So a lot of them women, they are so sick that they can't eat, or if they do eat, they're throwing it up. And so they're just like losing weight when in pregnancy you're needing to, of course, make those gains. In my case, if I ate every 2 hours and some type of protein or something, filling, and I took anti-nausea medication around the clock, which if you're able to avoid it, do it, because you never know. There's no guarantee. There's lots of possible side effects. Do your research and, listen to your doctor's instructions. The anti-nausea medication was prescribed to me. My ex is, worked in the medical field. So we had, and we have a lot of friends in the medical field. So we had a lot of, expertise about it. But there's no like true safeguard. We did our best to choose the least harmful one, or possibly harmful. We did the research. There's research you can find research that proves anything. But overwhelmingly, the research said that this was the safest anti-nausea medication to take during pregnancy. And that's what I took. Had I not taken the anti-nausea medication, I would have thrown up everything all the time. So I'm fortunate that I was able to take it and it worked for me, because again, some women, it does not even work for it. Their nausea isn't alleviated by the anti-nausea pills. They just have to be hospitalized and sustained through IV fluids. And some do get to the point where they do have to terminate the pregnancy, because you can't just be throwing up 24/7 for 9-10 months straight, or they don't go full term, and there's all the other complications that come with that. So, I was fortunate that I was able to navigate the nausea through overeating, consistently stuffing my face every 2 hours, and taking the anti-nausea pills. Now that just kept me from throwing up. I still felt, nauseous throughout it, but it could manage it. It didn't feel as bad. I could only take so many nausea pills per day, but I was at that limit. I was absolutely at that limit. And then I had to find other things that like more homeopathic, is that the word, for things that are not like medication, more natural remedies, sort of natural, as vitamins for the night shift. So at nighttime, I'm still nauseous, and I still have to wake up every 2 hours. I will say that did prepare me for dealing with a newborn and having to feed them every 2 hours. But I got a head start, a healthy head start that I could have done without, because the 2 hours was at night when I wanted to be asleep. And mind you, I'm still working during this time. Another thing that I was fortunate sorry, y'all, just trying to change positions, and being over 30, it'd be hard. Another thing that I was fortunate with was I was pregnant during COVID. And because of that, I was able to work from home. So that helped with the constant need to eat around the clock and take my medicine and stuff, and I know that it helped a lot because I did go to work during part of this, a couple of days through it when I had to go in person, and at the beginning before we all transitioned home, I was dealing with this, and basically I carried a lunchbox with me everywhere I went, and by no means was it a glamorous like feast inside of it, because although I was able to eat, I still had these, aversions to different foods and smells. So when I tell you being pregnant was the healthiest I've ever eaten, meanwhile, I'm over here expecting to be able to like pig out, eat whatever I want, have all the kinds of cravings, and have an excuse to eat bad. No, I could not eat anything that was fun, essentially. I got extremely nauseous with any type of heavy seasoning. So basically, I had to eat bland foods, salt, pepper, max. That's it. Nothing. And I love to put curry powder in my food. None of that. Instantly nauseous. I developed a sweet tooth. I'm usually a salt person. Salt, savory, sour even. But sweets were never my thing. To this day. I can eat a pack of Mike and Nikes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But during pregnancy, although I developed this sweet tooth, I could not eat anything sweet because that too would make me more nauseous. And so I carried around this lunchbox, and in it was snack cheese, protein shakes, protein bars, sandwich meat, like rolled up deli meat, like not even... Like I used to put it on a sandwich. After a while, I was like, F it, just roll it up and put it in a plastic baggie. Crackers. I carried some aspartame-free chewing gum, which is, you won't get cancer, but you also won't enjoy the gum. But it had the minty flavor, and it wasn't gonna, harm, the baby or me. So I had that every day, all day. Anywhere I went, I took it because God forbid I get stuck somewhere, and I'm close to that 2-hour mark or whatever, and I start feeling nauseous. It's also like if you've ever most of you have had a hangover, trying to like drive with a hangover, it's not a fun thing, like you just want to lay down. You want to be somewhere cool and still. Like, there was one time that I got caught slipping, driving home from work. And I guess I stayed a little bit late, and I had to run out of snacks. I had to get home. Now, mind you, at this time, I only lived 15 minutes away from work. So it wasn't like I needed too much of a grace period. But anyways, I was playing around and got caught slipping, and I threw up in a plastic bag in my lap at a red light. When I tell you, it's one of those moments that you're just like, yo, I give up. You can have all that. Like, I give up. Just having to like finish that drive home with a bag of my throw up on my lap, throw up in my mouth. Sorry, probably too graphic, but like, what is happening? Like, I can't do this shit. Like, it was too much. But yeah, that was, so I got used to carrying that thing around, and never again did I overstay. I made sure that if I'm, running low on snacks, I need to be headed home quick, fast, and in a hurry. So yeah, it was that. What else? Just the thought that it was never going to go away. And, people trying to encourage you, which, is understandable, and I get it. But the hard part is, even when I would go to my OB and talk about the symptoms and everything, they're like, oh, well, it's just pregnancy. You're healthy. You're healthy. Everything. Baby's good. You're fine. it's just, some people get this, some people don't. And that's it. That's all the comfort that you're getting. And they'll say, but, hopefully it should be done by, the first once the first trimester is over. And they know good and well that might not be the case, but they are trying to give you the positives, because there's really no good in telling you the negatives for some. But for me, I like to manage my expectations. I like to know, hey, there's a chance that it might not go away. So, hey, prepare yourself either way. Because I know when I hit that third month mark, that trimester mark, and I was still sick, that your girl had a setback, I had to then reset my entire way of thinking and be like, girl, it ain't going away. It's here to stay. Because I just didn't know. And every time someone tells me, oh, yeah. Some people, go longer, but, mine was gone by the fifth week, or by the fifth week or whatever. Listen, I'm sorry, the 5th month. If it's not that for you, when you get there, you're going to be highly upset. I know I was highly upset. And so there's a lot of stuff to have to prepare yourself for. And that takes another toll. And then while you see your other friends coming out of the regular morning sickness after the first trimester and starting to feel better, the nausea subsiding, you're like, well, what the hell? Why me? I don't want this. I want to be frolicking fat. No, I'm sick, wallowing. That's what I'm doing. So that was really tough, and trying not to, again, be the Debbie Downer. Like what I would like to say is give the pregnant woman around you that is going through this an excuse to not be happy. Please give me the space, because I'm dealing with a lot, and just surviving is enough. Thank you very much. Not pressuring them to feel bad, or even if you do feel good around them, letting them know that, hey, you understand. Hey, feel your feels. I'm here for it. If you need to talk, you need to vent, you need to just sit here and look mad, go for it. I don't know, that would have helped. It did help me. Cause I will say I had an amazing tribe. And even though, I felt like the Debbie Downer, like I had people around me that did their best to understand and sympathize with what I was going through. But yeah, I know that no matter what they were saying, in my mind, I still felt like, dang, I'm just over here, this dark behind cloud, walking through these streets. And like I said, you feel ill-equipped, you feel weak, you feel ungrateful, you feel like something's wrong with you because you're not able to cherish this moment like you're supposed to. And there's no such thing as what you're supposed to do in pregnancy. You carry that baby, you do your best to stay healthy and keep the baby healthy. Amen. Good night. Yeah. There's so many other symptoms of pregnancy that we see on TV that aren't not everybody's experience. And I was just like looking up some of the myths that people kind of deal with. And let me look up one. Like, you're supposed to be joyful. You're supposed to be this perfect parent to be. This woman says, I never felt glowing, excited, or elated like the pregnant women in books and movies. I thought there must be something wrong with me because I didn't have those feelings. Again, all the more reason why I want to make sure that people know that it is okay to not feel that way. That is, well, I can't say it's the exception, not the rule, but it's not everyone's experience. And there's a lot of women that aren't experiencing that glow. First of all, that glow, everybody don't get it. What I got is called the pregnancy mask, or pregnancy shadow, the mask of pregnancy. And that is, instead of that glowing, radiant look you get rashes, acne, and hyperpigmentation. Yes, please. So in those stretch marks that you get, well, the hyperpigmentation makes sure that they really pop, stretch marks. That's another thing. I know that cocoa butter be solving a lot of hood crises, but it doesn't cure stretch marks. I don't know the full biology, but from what I gather, it can be hereditary. Meaning, if you're gonna get them, you're gonna get them. No matter how much oil, Crisco, and cocoa butter you lather on your beautiful skin, it's going to stretch if it needs to. And so, yeah. Team Tiger Stripes all day. It's crazy because it hits so much harder than that, because and I don't know how many people get to go through pregnancy with a bunch of other pregnant people, but I was fortunate to have a lot of close friends that were pregnant with me, and it's this kind of feeling where we're all preparing for this trip, we're all preparing for this journey. And everybody got the stuff. You got your cocoa butter, girl. I ordered mine yesterday. It should be here. And then, you actually start, I'm starting to feel that itch. Let me go ahead and rub some on. What's that there? Tiger Stripes. Hey, did the cocoa butter work for you? Yeah, mine worked. Oh, so maybe I didn't put it on early enough. Maybe I didn't put on enough. No, girl. It worked for her. It didn't work for you because biology. Not because you weren't prepared, not because you're not, crushing this, motherhood thing already, but because life be like that sometimes. And I'm so sorry. So it was kind of this moment of feeling like, dang, did I already fail? Like, what's going on? I thought I prepared. I tried to. You can't prepare for everything. Some things just happen in spite of your preparation. Life don't be caring. So you have to get used to just things, and I think it's part of the journey of parenthood is recognizing that shit don't be in your control. You can try to mitigate some of those challenges through preparation and research and understanding, but you better get used to not being able to meet your expectations. Yeah, that's all the advice that I can offer on that. And just be pleasantly surprised when you do. It makes it a little bit easier to swallow when you're not so high and expecting everything to go as you want, because there's a lot of things that are just not in your control. So yeah, the pregnancy shadow. Also, body image. I never felt so hideous. I felt like a goddamn ogre. Between the hyperpigmentation, the massive amount of weight that I had gained. I never dealt with body image issues, and I'm fortunate because I know a lot of women do. There's things, of course, that I don't like about myself, but never to the point where it was something that I struggled with mentally or socially or emotionally. But during this time, oh, absolutely. Clothes don't fit, face don't fit, skin don't fit, nothing fits, nothing matches. My face, my neck was all a different color than the rest of my body. I mean, it wasn't acne like pimples, but it was like rashes, rough. My skin was rough, yo. The stretching just it was everywhere. It was it was a lot, y'all. And trying to deal with that and feel comfortable and feel sexy. Oh goodness. Goodbye, child. Goodbye. Some people do be sexy, and some people can feel sexy even when they're not. I was neither one of those. I didn't look sexy and I couldn't feel sexy. But I did have to go through it, and you just kind of gotta find people to talk to. Find people that are going through it. Find people that are pregnant or have been recently, or whatever you have to do, but talk to somebody, because there are people out there that are, experiencing or have experienced something similar. Definitely, if anybody wants to reach out to me, well, let me not, whoever I can talk to, definitely people that are friends that know me well. I'm here for it, because I definitely understand how isolating it can be during that time when there are so many changes that are happening to your body. You constantly feel like you're dying because your body is literally betraying you for the sake of your child. So while I understand it, I'd be like, but dog, I thought we was cool. And my body's like, I'm with her now. So it can be a lot. But anyways, that has been enough word vomit for one sitting. There's so much more that I want to discuss. That's, the leading into pregnancy and preparation, and also once the baby gets here, and being a working professional, and all the mental BS that kind of goes on with all of these things. Pregnancy is a lot. Parenthood is a lot. It's just going to need another episode. So anyways, I wanted to get in and touch on that because, again, I had that experience with a friend recently, and just the world don't be knowing that it's a lot that we go through, and it's not always easy to just be happy, and that's okay. That's okay. So I want the world to know that. I want whoever's going through to know that, and, take that for what it's worth. If you have any comments, any input, I do want to say, again, this is my experience based on my limited purview. I recognize that this isn't the end of the discussion. In fact, I welcome other opinions, because I think that the more, lived, authentic experiences that we can share with each other, the more arsenal that we have to kind of get through life as we are experiencing it. And we're able to say, oh, you know what? I remember I heard about this. Yeah. So that do be happening to some people. So yeah. It's just, just fortifying us with more like knowledge and tools to get through life. So yeah, please comment below with any, experiences that you may have had that were to the contrary or similar, or other things that you'd like to hear me discuss on the topic, or honestly any topic, because at some point it's going to come down the line. Like, share, subscribe. If you don't know, please go ahead and find me on social media. is_Alexis. So that's ISS, and then that's _Alexis. No E, no I, double S. I really should have picked a easier name to communicate, but it is what it is. So that's on social media. That's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter. For all the podcast platforms, just search for Lex Talk, LEXTLK, and you should find me there. Other than that, thank you so much for being here, for joining, and I welcome your feedback. All right, guys, talk later. Bye.